I was asked by a couple people to try and describe my sharpener, and this is my self-adjusting or self-indexing sharpener that I built. This is just a Harbor Freight chainsaw sharpener, and this is just a power supply that I got off of Amazon. There's the power wires that go to the cord that's plugged in, along with the cord for chainsaw sharpener. And then there's the two power wires that run to the motor. Well, actually they run to speed control, which is down there. And that's how I can control how fast this goes. And then there's this mechanism that's for the adjusting. That adjusts the advancement or the retardation, or this backing off of the cut. So if you don't get the blade to come down right on the tip of the saw blade there, then you can advance it or retard it a little bit to make it so that the grinding wheel lines up perfectly with the tip. And that is just adjusted with this lever here. It doesn't move now. Right now you can do whatever you want because these two are locked down. And the biggest problem that everybody wants to know the answer to is there's the motor right there. It is just a low speed, 50 rotations per minute, 12 volt motor, and that's what this power supply does, is it turns the power from 110 to 12 volt. But the biggest problem that everybody has is this cam. And my cam's not perfect, but the cam is actually not all that hard. And the way that I built the cam and the way that I do the cam is pretty simple. So I'll go over that real quick. So we're going to turn the grinder off, and that's how I do the cam. I would move this off to the side just a little bit. Move this here, right here, off to the side a little bit. And you can see on the top of this, I have this little tick mark right here on the top. And what I did was I would go over here to the grinder, and with it turned off, I would lower the grinder down. So I'd get it set like right there, and then I knew at this point on the cam that that's where I wanted the cam to be, because I got this out of the, this here was, and then as I would advance it, I would put another tick mark, and then another tick mark, and then another tick mark, and then another tick mark, and another tick mark, and keep putting tick marks on this thing as it went through, and as it forced it through there, then that's when I'd pick up and I got to that point of the gullet over here. I got to the gullet, and then I put this, you can see how it's got this lobe right here. And you can see my little tick marks. And you just connect all of these little tick marks together, and then when I wanted it to pick up, I went right back to the full-size cam. So it would pick it up to the full height. So the only part of this cam, the only part of this thing that is actually cut out is from about here to here. That's the only part that does any cutting on this cam. The rest of it, all the rest of the way around, it stays in the up position, which is where it's at now. It's in the up position. And then it just drops down right into the gullet, sweeps through the gullet, and picks it right back up. But this is, I mean, you have to be a little bit mechanically inclined, but there's no magic numbers here. As far as, you know, some people want to know all these numbers for this build, and there's really no magic numbers. But I tell you every number. It's not that big a deal. But like this bar here, 17 inches, and right now it's up off of there 4 inches, or it's the bar itself is like at 2 1/4, 2 3/8, something like that. The center of this motor here is like 6 inches. I built this 5 inches by 8 inches tall. It's just it mounts with those 3 bolts. It's got a little spindle that goes through there. You have to weld a little nut onto there in order to accept that nut right there. And then this is just a bolt that goes onto the cam here. There is one magic number, and I will say there is one magic number. This distance from the center of this nut to the center of this cannot be more than twice the distance from here to here. Because if it's more than twice that distance, what will happen is your pusher here will come back more than one space. It can come back all the way to here and still push this thing one tooth. But if it comes back past there, it'll push it 2 teeth. So that's the only real magic number that you need to know here is this pusher. So mine are 7/8 of an inch right here. So 1.5 inches. So the distance cannot be, and actually that was a little bit wrong. The distance from here, from the center of this nut at this position to the center of that nut at this position can't be more than 1.5 inches, and it shouldn't be. Yeah, so I'm a little under 3/4 of an inch, so it would be less than 1.5 inches. And actually, is 1 3/4 inches. So 7/8 and 7/8 is 1 3/4 inches. So it can't be more than 1 3/4 inches. And I'm at like 1.5 inches. So if you watch this, what I'm saying is when it gets to full stroke, it drops back and it doesn't go into that next cut, that next tooth. It drops back to there, and then it starts pushing, and it only pushes that far. As long as it doesn't go past that tooth there and drop into that second gullet, then you're fine. And I've got this turned off right now. This is a junk blade, so I set it up on a junk blade. I always save one junk blade just to set it up for the next time, because I don't want to set it up and burn a good tooth on a good blade. But right now I've got it set up. This is my setup blade, and so we're watching it kind of cut right now. But this is, it's a very simple build. One thing I did do, and that you should know, is this mount is made out of phenolic that I had on hand. But that's a 10 degree. It's 10 degrees. And the reason it's 10 degrees is because I have 10 degree blades. So it's not adjustable to 7 degree or 10 degree or 9 degree blades. It's 10 degree. That's what I have. That's what I run all the time. I know that's not what everybody tells me I should run, but whatever. I don't care. But this is a 10 degree blade. Now, the other adjustment here is this thing. So this, if you're going too deep into your gullet, if you hit that gullet too deep, then you can just adjust this and bring the head of this up. And it does mess with it a little bit on the cutting of the tip in there again. So you make sure that, when you're doing it, like I said, you always have a junk blade, and I'm setting it until I get it right exactly where I want it. And then when I get it exactly where I want it, then I go ahead and turn it on, and I let it run, and I make sure that it's going to cut like I want it to cut. And See, that one there got a little bit too far, and I don't like how that one cut. It got into the tip, but that one was okay. And then I'll speed it up. I don't like it to go that slow. That was perfect. That one was good. I like it to just barely touch the tip and then slide down into the gullet. Now I've already gotten onto some of the cuts where when I was setting it up. Now I've gone all the way around this blade. But this is my auto sharpener. It takes 8 to 9 minutes to do one of my newer, bigger blades. So I'm running a 36-inch Hudson right now, and so this blade, I think it was what, 167. So 167-inch blade takes about 8 to 9 minutes. Anyway, that's my blade sharpener. Feel free to leave comments or ask questions. Thanks.